everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. My name is Chloe. This is my very first YouTube video, and I could not be more excited to share this look with you guys. This is my signature look that I've created. I have walked you guys through every step of how to do it, the products that I've used, the order in which I use them, so that hopefully you can recreate it as well. It's very, very simple to recreate, and it's just my go-to, never fails me kind of look. So if you would like to learn how to create this look, then please just keep watching. Please also make sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you would like to be notified every time I upload. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you love it. So we are just going to jump right into this tutorial. I definitely have a certain way of doing my makeup. I definitely have certain colors that I use that I feel like are most flattering to me and my skin. So for foundation today, I like to do a mixture of foundations. I like mixing Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation, and I'm in the shade Nude, along with Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. And I know that that may seem like a really strange combination, but the Hourglass foundation stick it's phenomenal. You can't go wrong with it. It's so good. It's a really creamy, rich consistency, and it has phenomenal color payoff. It's extremely pigmented, so you get a lot of coverage with little product. I know I look crazy right now too, but being that it is so creamy, I love mixing in Tarte Shape Tape because it gives it some mattness. So I like mixing that in, and also I like mixing in the Tarte Shape Tape because right now the Hourglass foundation is a little tan for me. So we're transitioning to fall, and I'm kind of losing that little bit of tan that I did have over summer. So the Tarte Shape Tape is a little lighter, and it helps get my perfect color. Starting with my face first. That is really just personal preference. Some makeup artists like doing their eyes first so that they can avoid any fallout getting onto their face. I will do my eyes first if I'm doing a very, very dramatic dark eye makeup look. With that, you know there is going to be fallout, and so if you don't have anything on your face, it's easy to wipe the fall off away. On a normal day-to-day basis, I like doing my base first just because it is more my problem area. I like having that really good base starting off with because then I feel like the eyes just complement it. So I like spending the bulk of my time and energy on my face, especially because I have 2 kids, and I can't tell you guys how many times I will sit down to do my makeup and something happens where I don't get to finish, or I have to stop halfway through to deal with someone or something, and I don't get near as much time as I had originally planned on. So at least I know if my face is done, I can just throw on some mascara and brow gel, and I at least feel confident and fine to walk out the door. To tell you a little bit about my skin, I am true normal combo skin. My biggest problem is that my skin is extremely acne prone. It is extremely sensitive, and I have to be very, very careful as to what ingredients and products I put on my face because everything breaks me out. So if you have sensitive skin, I'm your girl to watch. So I'm done with my base. I feel good about it. I'm now going to conceal my under eyes and around my nose. This is one of the largest problem areas for me. I'm extremely, extremely dark directly under my eyes, but also really deep into this inner corner, almost up into my lid, and I'm not sure how much it'll show on camera, but when I was buffing in my foundation, I drag any excess up into that area. I don't put any extra product up there as far as foundation is concerned, but I do drag some up there just to do a little color correcting before going in with concealer. And so for concealer, one of my absolute all-time favorites that I really cannot find anything that compares to it is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and I am in the shade Creme Brulee. It's so good. And I do use a lot. I know that I use a lot. We all have our things we're most self-conscious about. This is my self-conscious thing. I do not like how dark I am under my eyes, and it's not from lack of sleep. Don't get me wrong, I don't really sleep. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, so I haven't slept in about 3 years, but it is really not because of that. I've had dark circles since I was a little girl. They're hereditary. It's just a part of me. But so they're the thing that I really try to conceal and cover. So I focus it all under my eye, and then I do put a little around the base of my nose. So I'm also going to put a little bit down the bridge of my nose. I have a scar. I probably should have shown you guys before starting, but I have a scar right on the very top of my nose, the very top of the bridge, and it's from an accident that I was in college. I have a scar, but there's also like an indentation. So you'll see me kind of build up product there to try to camouflage that. And I have, from the same accident, a little bit of scarring right here on this side of my face, but it covers up pretty easily. So these are the areas that I put concealer. I don't do in between my brows or on my chin. That on me personally tends to look cakey, and I've just found that I don't really need brightening there. I don't have a large forehead, but I don't really have a small one either, so I don't really feel the need to add brightness there, and nor on my chin. I just, again, don't like the way it can look cakey on me personally. But I like to blend out my concealer with a beauty blender. I've tried, I kid you not guys, I've tried every brush on the market for blending out concealer. There's just, in my personal opinion, nothing works like a sponge under the eyes. Concealer is a magical product, but it can also be a very difficult product to use as well. And so I've just found that using a sponge is just a foolproof way of really making sure that it blends well and absorbing any excess product, but not enough to take the coverage away. You do need to wet the sponge before you use it. You want to make sure that the sponge is just damp. You don't want any water falling out of it. You don't want to feel any water on your face. You just want to feel that it's damp. That is going to make it where the sponge has already absorbed water, so it's not going to absorb a ton of product, but it helps with that blending. So always wet your sponge, always wring it out. This is a Beauty Blender sponge. It is just the smaller concealer version. I love the large Beauty Blenders. I'm just out right now, but this is a great one to use. And I want to say this one is a tad bit more affordable. I think it's a little less expensive, and I want to say it comes in a 2-pack. So I just blended in all of my concealer with the Beauty Blender. You notice I don't wipe. You don't ever want to wipe anything. You always want to pat. It helps with everything. It's better for your skin, better for the longevity of the product, the performance of the product, but you always just want to pat. Just continually pat. I'm now going to follow with some loose setting powder. So my absolute favorite setting powder is by Hourglass. And guys, you're gonna notice I use a ton of Hourglass products. This video is in no way, shape, or form sponsored. I don't get PR from them. I don't even have a pro discount with them. This is in no way sponsored. This is just, I genuinely love their products. This is their Veil Translucent Setting Powder. I like applying my powder with a brush. So many times you will see people apply powder with a beauty blender. I used to do that. It works fine. I just found that I would crease a lot sooner when I would apply powder with a beauty blender. I felt like it made the powder not work as well for me. So I like putting it on with a brush, and again, you'll notice I'm not wiping right now. I'm just patting it in place because I don't want to move that concealer. I want to lock it in and make sure that it does not go anywhere. So I'm just pressing it in, and I go in with a pretty heavy hand of powder. I don't bake. I don't have time for that. And honestly, I don't feel like it really makes that big of a difference. So, but I do put a fair amount on my brush, and then I pat it in place, and whatever is left on my brush, I will sweep across my lid in this inner corner and across my lid just to set any product that I put up there. And then I just dust away the excess. I'm gonna put a little bit more on my brush, pat it in place, swipe across my lid to set that. It'll take that tackiness away for the eyeshadow and dust away anything else. Now, I'm not done setting my face, but for right now, the only other place I'm going to set is around my nose. I'm going to just set around my nostrils. I'm going to leave the rest of my nose and my face clear of powder because I am going to use a cream contour, so I don't want to have powder down first. So I'm just putting a little around my nose. And then I'm going to set this aside for just a minute. This is by Charlotte Tilbury, her Hollywood Contour Wand. And this is in the deepest shade. I think she has 2 different shades. I like really slimming this area. I have very large cheeks, so I want to really carve under my cheeks to give that very sculpted, slim face. So you always want to go right below your cheekbone. So if you took a brush and rolled your brush down, right where it dips is where you want to do your contour. So I just kind of know where to do it now, but I just kind of make that funny face and dot this on, and it looks extreme and it looks super dark and it looks a lot, but it blends seamlessly. I like doing a little bit on my forehead. Like I said, I don't have a large forehead, but I like that very tan shadowed forehead. So I do put it there. Same with this side. And then the only other place that I like to contour is around the tip of my nose. So I have a very skinny bridge, and then at the tip of my nose, it kind of like bulbuses out. That sounds so ridiculous, but it does. My nose is wider down at the tip than what it is on the bridge. So I'm only putting the contour shade down at the tip because with contouring, you are essentially putting a shadow where you want to appear slimmer. So, whereas if you're using something to brighten and bring light to an area, you're going to attract attention to it and make it appear larger. So right now in these areas, I'm trying to slim them down. I just really like a cream for these areas because I feel like it just lasts a little longer. So this is one of my absolute favorite brushes to blend in contour with. It is an Eco Tools brush, and you can find these at Target, any drugstore. I actually think I found this one at Whole Foods. It just has that really kind of like a, not really rectangular, but an oval shape almost, and it's really dense and it's really narrow. So it's not going to spread the product all across your face. So I like to blend it in about 90% of the way. And then in just a minute, I'm going to go in with my foundation brush that I used, and I'm going to blend it out the rest of the way just to make sure there's no muddiness to it. See how this is looking a little like it came down a little further than what I would like? I like that really clean line. So I'm just taking my foundation brush, I'm not doing any extra product, and I'm just kind of cutting a line. And if you get too much, then just dab that contour brush again. But I just like it a little cleaner and straighter. So again, blending out about 90% of the way. And I take any excess product and I will do it in the center. Taking that foundation brush. And cutting across. Now for the tip of my nose, I like to pat this in just ever so gently, and I will work up. So I will drag a little bit of the product up just so that it's really nice and blended, but I don't put any extra product up on along the sides. And I'm not very specific with it because I'm going to clean it up in just a second. So don't feel like you can pinch your brush, there's nothing wrong with that, but don't feel like it has to be a super harsh line down the side of your nose because I'm going to show you how to clean it in just a second. So I like blend that out again until we're about 90% of the way. And then this is one of my absolute favorite products, and I actually love all of her products, but this is the KKW highlight stick. I had the contour stick as well. It is by far the best contour product I've ever used. It's so good. I just haven't had the time to reorder it, but it's when she first launched, and it came in a set. So you got the highlighting stick, a contour stick, and a brush. The highlighting stick comes with a matte side. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a matte side, and then there's a shimmer side. It's a really, really pretty ethereal shimmer that I like putting at the tip of my nose. But I love this product. It is so, so, so good, and I will definitely be reordering. It's fabulous. But if you don't have that product, take your concealer and just put a little bit down the center. This is a stippling brush from MAC, and I just dab this in place. And again, you wouldn't really even have to do this. I like doing this again because I'm layering over that scar. So I'm really trying to get rid of that. I'm self-conscious of it. So I'm dabbing this into place about 90% of the way. And then I'm taking what I use to blend out my contour, and I'm patting over it as well. So everything's just really seamless and blended. I don't like any harsh lines. Okay, so contour is done. I am now going to set my face because, like I said, I have 2 kids. I run around like crazy all day, so I just want to make sure everything is locked into place. So I'm taking just a large fluffy powder brush, and I like to dip it in my powder, and I'm going to go right on the lower half of my face. I'm not going to hit this contour or my cheeks. I'm going to go in with a bronzer to do that, but I'm going to hit this bottom half of my face and my forehead and nose. Going to take some powdered bronzer, and this is by Hourglass. This is in their darkest shade. This is Radiant Bronze Light. Looks like this. It's beautiful. It just has a beautiful glow to it. It's not shimmery, it's not sparkly, it's not textured at all. It just has a beautiful glow. And I'm actually going to take that same powder brush, and I'm just going to barely tap into it and go over where I did that contour shade. And I know I pull my face funny ways, but it really does help. A little bit on my forehead. This is where I like to go in under my jawline. I just think it's a more natural look, and I don't really feel like my jawline is my problem area, so that's why I don't do the cream contour there. Now I'm going to go in with blush, again, Hourglass, but this is in the shade Luminous Flesh. It's a really beautiful pink. And I do that cheesy smile, but again, it helps because I want to pop this on the apple of my cheeks, but then I immediately work my way up. Again, I have really large cheeks, so I like popping that color on the apple, but I like to focus the majority of it higher, just to draw the eye up and not keep it such on the center of my face. And I go heavy-handed at first, but I'm going to blend it out in just a minute. So I'm just taking a Duo Fiber brush, again by Eco Tools, just a really great, Duo Fiber just means it has some of these white bristles as well as the darker, and it just means that it's more dense down at the bottom and it's really fluffy at top, which these are the best brushes for blending things. They're not going to apply a lot of product, but they are the best for blending. So now I'm just going in with a little bit of powder highlight, and then I promise we will be done with the base. This is Afterglow from Pure Cosmetics. And I only put highlighter at the top of my cheek, the high point of my cheek, and down the bridge of my nose. And that is all for highlight. And we are officially done with the base. So let's move on to eyes. I like doing my brows first. So I'm taking my all-time favorite brow product, if I can find it, Again, by Hourglass. This is their Arch Brow Sculpting Pen. So it has a spoolie on one side, and then the pencil on the other. It is a really nice waxy pencil. I'm going to zoom you guys in to see this. So I am going to start by drawing the faintest line right underneath my brows. Nothing dark. You do not want to go heavy-handed on this part. I'm just drawing the faintest line so that I know where I want my brow to stop. So, and I let the pencil go all the way up into my arch, following that same angle. And then after every step, I immediately use the spoolie to blend everything out. So again, it's just a really faint line. And then I'm going to turn the pencil where it's up and down, and I'm taking the point and I'm letting it touch that bottom line that I just drew for myself, and I'm doing upward little flicks. I'm trying to recreate little hair-like strokes. And I don't go heavy-handed at all on my brows, so I just add little flicks into the inner corner, and then where I really start to build is this part up in my arch. I really want to define it. I really want to darken it and fill it in. And you don't have to be so careful with those strokes because it's really going to blend in with your hair. So it doesn't have to be quite as precise as what I like it in that inner corner. But you want to just work in small, very light-handed strokes. You don't want to press hard on your pencil, and you don't want to do long, exaggerated strokes. It's going to turn out unnatural. And then down at the very tip, I like to take my finger and drag down, and it just creates like this perfect little flick, or this point. I like for the end of my brow to come to a point. And I'm just going to do the same to the other side. Okay, now I'm going to set those in just a little bit, but I'm going to do my eyeshadow first. So for eyeshadow, I'm actually going to be using the Anastasia Makeup by Mario collab. This palette was limited edition. It isn't available anymore. I'm so sorry, but I am going to link a couple of palettes that have very similar shades down for you in the description box. So please feel free to check those out. But for today, I am going to dip into this palette. So I'm going to just take a little shimmer, and there are two shimmers in this palette, and I am dipping in to Fifth Avenue and Mariana, I believe is how it's pronounced. So it's like a rose gold and a more yellow gold. So I'm just kind of mixing the two. I always tap off any excess, and I am actually using a flat, this is a MAC 213, and it's actually a flat shader brush or a flat eyeshadow brush. I don't take it all the way under my brow. I don't like that whole carved out look. I just put it right here at my arch. So again, mixing a little bit of those two colors. And then I am going to pop a tiny bit into my inner corner. Now for my lid color, I'm going to be mixing Lula and Kim. So just a really cool toned taupe with more of like a rose gold taupe. Kim by itself is a little too warm for me and a little too dark, but when I mix Tula with it, it's the perfect combination. And this is actually, I want to say this is a 217. Yes, a MAC 217. So this is a blending brush. This is one of my all-time favorite brushes. If you are going to buy yourself any brush, buy this brush. Morphe makes a great dupe for it. If you don't want to spend the money on MAC. Even though it's a blending brush, I love putting it all over my lid because it just gives a really soft, diffused coating of color. So I'm just slowly building it up. I just did 2 layers there, and I'm taking it all the way from my lash line up to my brow bone. Not on my brow bone, but just right there at the base of it. I'm going a little higher than my crease. And then I drag every single color that I use on my lid, I automatically drag down to my lower lash line. I just look up and I hit right under those lower lashes. I like that very smoked out, sultry eye. I have very, very large round eyes, so that soft, sultry, smoky look, I feel like is flattering on me because it de-emphasizes how large my eyes are. Most of the time people are trying to enhance things, and it's not that I don't want them enhanced, they're so big. They really are. So I like to deepen them a little bit. So again, just washing this color all over the lid, just a hair more, and dragging it down to my lower lashes. Okay, and then after every step, you will see me go in with that tiny powder brush that I used, and all I'm doing is wiping away. If there is any fallout, I always pat off my brush or tap off my brush before applying it to the eye, but if there is any fallout, this will just dust it away. So always keep that by your side. It'll be your best friend. So now I'm going to take a really, really large fluffy brush. This is actually the brush that came with the palette. It's a dual-sided brush, but it is very, very, very fluffy. So it's not going to hold a lot of shadow. It's not going to deposit a lot of color. It's just going to, it's just the perfect crease brush. And I am going to dip in to Paris and Muse. So this is Paris, which you can tell I've already almost used up, and this is Muse. They're just a little darker than the 2 shades that I put on my lid. And I'm going to put this right into my crease. And I do those circular motions and then windshield wiper. And I really focus it on this outer corner. I don't go over into the center or inner corner of the eye. And then again, dragging it down. It just really helps to keep everything really seamless when you drag it down onto the lower lash line. And you'll see too, if I feel like I have brought the shadow out too far, I'll also take that same powder brush and just kind of buff it out, and it just, I'm telling you, that brush is your best friend. So again, dipping into Paris and Muse, and popping that into the crease. I keep my eye open just to see where my brush is hitting my eye, and then I will close it just to really blend. And then again, putting some extra product right there in the outer corner. I'm going to drag it down. And dust away any fallout. Now, I don't like going too dark or too smoky for daytime, but I am going to add a little bit more depth there on that outer corner. I'm going to go in with, this is Eco Tools. These are some of my favorite brushes too, and again, they're super affordable. You can find them at any drugstore. This is one of their dual-sided brushes, so you have a really nice tapered blending brush, so it's not nearly as thick and fluffy as the one we used in our crease. And then you have a really nice smudger brush on the other end. So I'm taking that really tapered blending side and I'm dipping in to, I want to say it's Violetta. I think it's Violetta is how it's pronounced. But it's just a nice chocolatey brown, and I'm only dipping the point of my brush into the shadow. I'm not going heavy-handed with it at all, and I am going to just put it in this outer socket. Just right here, just to smoke it out a little more and give a little more definition. Nothing crazy, nothing extreme. Ever so slightly I bring it into the crease, but I don't go more than 1/3 of the way over. And then again, down onto the lower lash line. And I don't drag it all the way to my inner tear duct, just keep it on this outer third of the eye. going to dip into Isabel, which is this really pretty orange terracotta color, and I am just taking a tiny bit on my brush, not a lot. This will just brighten everything up. And then I am going to take, you can use the smudger side of that Eco Tools brush if you would like. This blending brush has the same thing, the smudger on the other end. It's just a little larger. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to dip into Isabel, that orange shade, and I'm going to run it under that lower lash line. And then that is all for shadow. So what I like to do on top is I like to take an eyeliner brush, which is just an angled flat brush, and I'm going to again dip into Violetta, which was that dark chocolate brown. And I am going to get right up against my lash line, or right up against the base of my lashes. And I am just pressing this color in. And then for in this inner corner, I like to hold the brush, place it where I want it, and then kind of blink into it. I'm going to take a pencil brush, just looks like this. This is by MAC, but any pencil brush will do. Just a very tapered brush, and I'm going to dip into NYC, which is a little more of a plum shimmer as opposed to the matte chocolate brown. It just has a tiny bit of shimmer and a little bit more of a plum undertone. And I'm just going to go directly over that line, just so there's not a super defined line there. I'm going to take that angled brush again and do the same thing on bottom. I'm going to go under my lashes. So not in my waterline, but just under my lashes, right at the base of them, and apply that rich chocolate brown color. So just remember, everything that you do on top, I always do on bottom. Keeps everything very cohesive and, well, not always. Sometimes I'll do a pop of a different color on bottom, but for this look for every day, I like having the same thing on bottom that I do on top. So again, with the pencil brush, going in with that more plum shade, blend it out. Now for my waterline, you can do a couple of different things. If you have much smaller deep set eyes, you could use a flesh toned pencil or even a white pencil to really make your eyes pop. Again, I've told you guys that is not my goal. I'm trying to make them appear a little more deep set than what they are, but I don't like a black liner or a very dark liner for my day-to-day. So my absolute favorite pencil, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when I finally run out of it, which I'm about there, but my absolute favorite pencil is by Chantecaille. It's in the shade bronze, but they no longer make it. My two favorite colors are bronze and geode, and they don't make either one anymore. So I don't know what I'm going to do when I finally run out, but guys, I have like that much left. I like running in my waterline. I do not like pulling on my eye to get to this waterline. I don't like doing that. I used to do it all through high school, and my mom would say, stop pulling on your skin, you're gonna regret it. I've listened. So make sure your pencil is always sharpened. If it's sharp, then you won't need to pull on your skin. You can just run it right along that waterline. All right, now for mascara, this is one that I've been trying out lately. This is just the little trial size of it, but it is by Smashbox. It's their newer one. I don't know if that's going to focus or not, but it's called Super Fan. And I really, really like it. It has more of a comb applicator, which I'm normally not a fan of the comb applicators. I like more bristles, but this one's really, really good. I do my mascara backwards from anyone else that I know. I'm gonna go ahead and preface with that. But I do it for a reason. I do my bottom lashes first, because if I do my top lashes and then I look I tilt my head down and look straight at a mirror, my top lashes are going to hit all on my eyeshadow and it's going to get mascara everywhere. So I just do my bottom lashes first. I know it's backwards and it seems weird, but I've done it that way forever. Even on clients when I'm doing their mascara, I do it the same way. So for top lashes, I like to curl the wand. I like to twirl it in my fingers and kind of blink down. So I roll it and kind of blink because I really, really like getting a lot of the product there at that base of the lash. And then I just fan it out in this outer corner. We are done with everything. I just want to set my brows. So I'm going to use Too Faced brow gel. This has little fibers in it and this is in their universal brown color. And I'm just going to lightly stroke it into my brows. Not a lot, just a little bit, just to set them and give them a little more fullness. Those fibers really help with this. And then I do a signature lip, and my favorite lip combo to do is Charlotte Tilbury Lip Liner in Pillow Talk, and then Buxom Lip Gloss in the shade Dolly. They are my favorites. I like to line, and then I also take the pencil and I will shade in my lips a little bit. I do have a birthmark on my lip. That is what that little line is. So I like to cover it by coloring in the lips with the pencil. So I don't overline too much. I do a little overlining on the outer portion of my lips just to widen my mouth a little bit, but nothing extreme. And then I go in with the gloss. Okay guys, that is it for my look. If you know me, you know that I do this look all of the time. I feel like these colors are the most flattering on me, but most importantly, they're flattering on everyone. They look good on every skin tone, every eye shape, every eye color. I think looks like this match any outfit that you're wearing, and it's a super flattering look. It can take you from season to season and you don't have to change anything. So I'm gonna zoom you guys out just a little bit so that you can see more of the full face. Nothing too heavy. This may be very smoky for some, but I just feel like it's, again, the most flattering look for me. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Please tune in for my next video. It will go live on Thursday. I, again, will be posting content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so please join me. I cannot thank you guys enough for being here. I hope this tutorial isn't like an hour long, but I promise they will only get better. This is my first one, so thank you so much. It's so special to me. I love you all, and I cannot thank you all enough for the support. So I hope to see you in my next video. Thanks guys, bye.